don't want to sleep on cots. Build away these empty cots. We don't want to sleep on cots. Build away these empty lots. We don't want to sleep on cots. Build on all these empty lots. We don't want to sleep on cots. Build on all these empty lots. We don't want to sleep on cots. Build on all these empty lots. Empty lots don't make no sense. What we need is affordable rents. Empty lots don't make no sense. What we need is affordable rents. Empty lots don't make no sense. What we need is affordable rents. Housing is a human right. Homeless folks stand up and fight. Housing is a human right. Homeless folks stand up and fight. Housing is a human right. Homeless folks stand up and fight. Housing is a human right. Homeless folks stand up and fight. Housing is a human right. Homeless folks stand up and fight.
The reason why we're out here is because this vacant lot has been empty for over 40 plus horrible years. I don't understand the reason why this vacant lot has been empty for over 40 plus years. But at the same time, as far as this vacant lot is concerned, it could be for low-income housing, that's number one, a community center, number two, and a medical facility. We do need a medical facility in this area. Because we all know North General got shut down. But at the same time, we're just not here for that. We're more or less here for the Housing Not Warehousing Act.
Yes.
Intro 34, Intro 36, and Intro 39. There's three of them. One, require landlords to register their vacant property and impose fines if they fail to register. That's number one. That's Intro 1034. Number two, mandated citywide annual vacant property. That's Intro 1036, everybody. Everybody's with me?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Number three, of course, this is very important to everybody in this community.
Yes.
Create an annual report on vacant lots, public property that could be used for what? Affordable housing. Yes, that's right. So, to get this started, I'm going to also elaborate that we need to demand that the HNW, which is the Housing Not Warehousing Act, need to stop warehousing vacant property. Is everybody with me? Yes, thank you.
The city acquired the three buildings that stood here through eminent domain. They intended to clear slums and use the land for development. However, the city did not follow through. The city displaced residents and went through with the demolition. The city has lost over 250,000 rent-stabilized apartments since 1994. And in the past 8 years, the city has lost over 50,000 rent-stabilized apartments. The fact is that people are homeless because they are being pushed out of their homes, not because they have substance abuse, not because they have mental disabilities, not because they're lazy and don't want to get a job. HPD is currently holding up the Housing Not Warehousing Act. We are asking city council members to pass the Housing Not Warehousing Act and to push HPD to stop stalling so city properties like this can end the chronic and extensive homeless epidemic that's facing New York City. Picture the homeless did a block by block count in 2011 and found that only counting 1/3 of the city, found over 190, the empty buildings and lots that we counted, we found that they could house 199,000 people. That was only 1/3 of the city. Imagine if the Housing Not Warehousing Act is passed and the whole city is counted annually. My vision for this lot is to house 84 homeless people. What is your vision for this lot? Thank you.
The city is on a vacant property across all 5 boroughs, while homeless has reached record levels. We also want to emphasize that East New York has been rezoned, which would send rents and land values skyrocketing upwards. Lots like this should not be sold to the highest bidder, but given to non-profit developers with a track record of developing income targeted to low-income housing.
Yes.
But accountability is the first step.
Here, here.
Partnerships for the Homeless wants to support other neighborhoods that are being gentrified and in danger of losing their housing to speculation. Lack of visioning sessions in East New York to demand accountability as well as truly affordable and safe housing for every New Yorker.
Yes.
Not just some New Yorkers, every New Yorker.
Here, here. Yeah. Here, here.
We must fight and pass the housing,
Yes.
not the Warehousing Act. We must stand together and united
Yes.
on this day and every day for the future.
I don't use substances, I don't have a psychiatric disability, I have none of those things that usually bring people to homelessness. Something else is going on,
Yes.
and I think you'll agree that the word is oppression.
Here, here. Here, here.
40 years of an empty lot like this that was supposed to serve the community, that has not served the community, is wrong.
Yes.
So we are looking for this legislation to be passed. There is something that we are not discussing very much, and I'd like to throw it out. The moral issue behind what's going on. I would like to remind us all that there's a moral side of this issue,
Yes.
and that the Bible, the story of the Bible, is one of oppression. God, according to the biblical teaching, loves social justice, loves social equity.
Yes.
We're not talking very much about that. It wasn't for nothing that Martin Luther King was out there. It wasn't for nothing that somebody stopped him. He comes out of that biblical social justice tradition. We have to revive that, in my opinion. The earth is the Lord's and all it contains. That is a psalm, Psalm 24. This lot doesn't belong to anybody. Eminent domain doesn't mean anything, really. It should be, the word eminent should have a capital E. Eminent domain means this lot belongs to God.
Here, here.
And God loves social justice.
Here, here.
The story of the Bible is about social equity, not about the increasing resources going to a certain few, but resources that go to everybody. So what's the vision? The vision is for social equity, social justice in Harlem, in New York City, in the country, in the world. So the vision is for social equity in Harlem. Good policies have caused the crisis of homelessness in the city.
Yes.
The act that we're pressuring today, that we're pushing today, is good policy. Bad policies have caused the problem, a crisis. Good policies, like what brings us here today, will help not only reduce homelessness, but end homelessness.
Yes.
Imagine it.
Imagine.
Dream it, because it's possible.
Here, here.
Most people across this city, the people out here, the people around the corner, people walking these streets today are at risk of homelessness. And you know what the reason is really, that this is really happening has nothing to do, like Philip was saying, with people in their individual situations. People have crises. It is the part of the human condition for us to have mental illness, for us to have situations that lead us to economic struggle. So this is really about a systemic issue. This is an issue of capitalism. This is an issue where people are not put before profit, right? So whenever we stand together on this sidewalk to demand that the city do something about this, that take advantage of these empty spaces and house people, because we have to continue to share our stories here. Because if we don't, they do nothing. So I want to thank Picture the Homeless for doing this, for organizing this rally. I want to thank the folks for coming out here today. And I want to remind you that we have to continue to implicate capitalism. We have to use that language because the system of capitalism is meant to inherently create situations of scarcity. The way capitalism works, it means for me to be okay, for me to be housed, that means Donald here cannot be housed. we have to think differently. There is an issue of ideological tragedy happening right now in this city, across this country, across this world, really. But we have to take immediate steps to alleviate the issues that are at hand. And passing the legislation that is being asked for here, the Housing Not Warehousing Act, will be a step in the right direction.
Let's be sure that the troubles, the things you're seeing here in New York City, it's not only happening here in New York City, okay? We can blame the local government for sure.
Yes.
Shame on them.
Yes.
Shame on the local governments for not doing the things they need to do.
Yes, yes, yes.
But it's not only here. It's not only here that gentrification is going on. That is pushing traditional population from the neighborhoods
Yes, yes.
to the outskirts of the city, and giving the city to the rich people.
Yes.
That's happening all over the world.
Uniform.
In the north, in the south, in the east, in the west. So we need to have a global struggle. We need to have a global movement to say this is our right. We have the right to be here. We have the right to And if everybody's going to live here, we cannot accept having empty places, empty spots that just there for having money, for gaining money.
Exactly.
It's speculation only.
Yes,
Well, we have people living in the street. This is not acceptable. It's not acceptable here in New York, one of the richest countries in the world. It's not acceptable in any place.
That's right.
So let's get together. Let's deliver the same message.
Yes,
So
yes.
be sure that we are with you. We're fighting the same struggle. And the same things you're asking for here, the proposals you're putting out there for the Housing Act.
Yes.
You can ask our colleagues from Brazil. They were working on similar things, that now national and local law in Brazil. So now it's an obligation for the government to fulfill that. And that is called the social function of the land and the property. The social function meaning cannot be empty when we have people that need that space to live, they need the space to produce, they need the space to work. So let's get together for the right to the city for everybody. Thank you very much.
Last night, actually, I saw this documentary again, Rezoning Harlem, right? And it was like deja vu, because everything that was being said in 2008, all the promises that the city made, that rezoning 125th Street would bring all the benefits for Harlem.
Yes.
We see today that it was nothing but bullshit, right?
Here.
And today, East Harlem and other low-income communities of color all over the city are being targeted again for upzoning.
Yes.
And that's unacceptable. We need to shut them down. We need to go down to City Hall, city planning, and tell them to stop, right? I was with Picture the Homeless back when we did Hands Across Harlem. We came from Adam Clayton, 8th Avenue all the way over to Lexington, over 1,000 people holding hands to protect our neighborhood.
Yes.
And we also did the vacancy count, where we showed that there were all these properties like this that the city owns. They like to pretend that there's no more city-owned land.
Yes.
There's a whole bunch of city-owned lots and empty buildings that can be turned over to community land trusts, to people who know how to build and sustain affordable housing, right? Because we know how to do it.
Yes.
They talk about the criminals and drug addicts, right? The only ones I know are the ones down at City Hall and Wall Street, right? They talk about people begging and how it's off-putting. The only one I see panhandling these days is Mayor de Blasio. Who's got his hand out with all the developers and property owners, Real Estate Board of New York. That's who's begging. He's up for re-election in November, and we want to take him out. The ULURP clock is ticking for rezoning in East Harlem. We are counting down the days. If they don't stop the rezoning, we're going to take him out. We're going to cash him out at the ballot box on November 7th.
Yes, we are.
If we go, they go, right?
That's right.
So I am so excited to see so many people coming together from all over the city,
Yes.
different boroughs, different parts of the country. This is what we need to do.
Yes.
And we have had solidarity support from people in the Bronx, Brooklyn, here in El Barrio, the Justice Center, Movimiento para Justicia del Barrio, El Barrio Unite. We are fighting this in East Harlem. We will support our brothers and sisters in the other boroughs and cities. And in fact,
I want you to look to your right, look to your left, and ask your neighbor, what you think that this space can be? I'm already thinking maybe a supermarket, school, or maybe just
Low-income housing.
maybe just a rest spot, because there's so much stress in this world. But we gotta look forward to a better world if we just dream of what this space can be like. What are we thinking about what this space can be? This space can be a hospital. How about a daycare center? Who needs a daycare center? Yes, the kids need a daycare center. A playground? How about that? How about a school? How about a school?
Housing is a human right, every day and every night. Housing is a human right, every day and every night. Housing is a human right, every day and every night. Housing is a human right, every day and every night. Housing is a human right, every day and every night.
What do we want?
Housing.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Housing.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Housing.
When do we want it?
Now.
Housing is a
Human right.
what are we gonna do?
I come from India and I'm a part of the civil political rights movement, working on issues of homelessness, housing rights, workers' rights, migrant rights, right to the city. I was really inspired by this whole struggle and campaign, and after getting all this excitement, I want to say something in my local language, which is Hindi. And we always use this slogan for our, in the housing rights and the homelessness rights campaign. Jo zameen sarkari hai, wo zameen hamari hai. It's mean that wherever the land belongs to the state, belongs to the government, it should be given to the people. So that's the meaning of our slogan of the campaign. Thank you.
Empty lots don't make no sense. What we need is affordable rents.
Empty lots don't make no sense. What we need is affordable rent.
Empty lots don't make no sense.
What we need is affordable rent.
Empty lots don't make no sense.
All we need is affordable rent.
Empty lots don't make no sense.
All we need is affordable rent.
We don't want complacency. Build on all these vacancies.
We don't want complacency. Build on all these vacancies.
Politicians keep this vacant. Homeless folks are losing patience.
Politicians keep this vacant.
Homeless folks are losing patience.
Politicians keep it vacant.
Homeless folks are losing patience. Politicians keep this vacant. Housing is a human right. Homeless folks stand up and fight.
Housing is a human right. Homeless folks stand up and fight.